Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. This is going to be my review and unboxing for the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Dino Fury Blue Ranger. I'm doing an unboxing as the first part of the video because, as you know, there's been recent problems with some of the brittleness and the quality for the main waves, and this is the first main wave figure I have gotten outside of stuff like the premium Blue Centurion, as well as the remaster versions. So I wanted to sort of do an on-camera unboxing like I did with Coda to sort of test and feel the quality before we get into a regular review. The only thing I did was I broke the seal of the tape to save time, which I've now wasted explaining it to you. But let's go ahead and get this open, and I'm like spinning it around like it's hard to figure out. I was just trying to get the right angle there. So, alright, we still have the windowless, the windowless packaging. If you also didn't hear, we are going to be switching back to a windowed packaging fairly soon here, within the year, I believe. But for now, we have this stupid, like, weird Laura Palmer tape type deal. So here's obviously the main figure, the main event here. You know, seems about par for the course. I think it's the kind of the same general quality as stuff like Coda. It doesn't feel any like particular cheap or anything like that, so that's kind of nice. I don't feel it's overly loose. So honestly, overall, this feels pretty solid, I have to say. Maybe they got their stuff under control for this. I'm going to mainly do a test here. We got the civilian head on there. I don't know why they have the civilian heads on them when you first get them. I think that makes me upset because that's the way it was with Izzy, and that's how I broke both of them, because honestly, I rarely use the civilian heads, even though I actually quite like them. But let's get the accessories out, and I'm going to swap the head out here right at the beginning. We'll see if we break it or not. We're not trying to break it, but that's what happened with Izzy, and that's why I pulled out the Coda one. You know what? I'm just going to do it like this. Okay, so we're dumping this out. Shimon-ly. Okay, so here we go. So this was the problem I encountered before, which was that it kind of broke open here. Well, not with blue, but with green. It kind of broke open here, and I was trying my best to hold it closed, and I wasn't putting a lot of pressure on it, and it just broke. But let's hope for the best. Oh! That was some stuff falling off camera, but this ended up being fine. So that's good news. I'm happy about that. I don't think I'll necessarily do this for every video, but since this was the first one that I got, you know, that was kind of a premium one that you wouldn't expect those problems with, a little tough to get on there. Okay, that's actually kind of tough to get on there. So again, these don't feel as brittle. I don't know if anyone's had any problems with these. I haven't seen any complaints personally, but that is worth noting that it's rather difficult to get on there. But it held up to that. I didn't feel like it was going to break, so that's good news. But now, regular review. Alright, so now we can do our usual review. As for accessories, you know, in addition to these swappable heads I just showed, you only have two alternate hands. You have a alternate holding weapons hand for silver, a little bit blurry there, but you don't need to see the details on it, as well as an alternate closed fist for the blue hand there, because he's got two different sets of gloves. You got your standard lightning effect part here, and then obviously we already saw it at the beginning of the video, but you do have obviously the head sculpt here. I actually think it's really quite well done, honestly. It captures his douchiness really well. You can really tell that he's about to say something really stupid like fantastical things don't exist in the PR world. No, but for real talk, it actually is one of the better looking human head sculpts a little bit. Not a little bit, I don't know why I said that. Anyway, let's talk about the figure now. So overall, like I said, the quality of the figure definitely feels to me better than the breakable brittle wave, where everything felt really cheap and weird and off. It still doesn't feel maybe quite as good as some of the classic ones, probably still a little bit step below it, a little bit lesser of a quality. Also a little bit lesser of a quality feel compared to these ones here, the remaster versions, but that's obvious because that's meant to be a premium one. But it doesn't overall feel bad, to be honest. It feels like pretty much par for the course, in line with other types of figures we've gotten, and the articulation is still kind of your par for the course stuff. I think I said par for the course a bunch of times. We're not even playing golf. You got your swiveling, your ball joint, you got your double knee joint here, or your knee joint here. I think it's a single knee joint. You got this hinge joint right here, and it all feels, honestly, not, like I said, not loose. It actually feels pretty solid, which is really nice, because even on some of the ones that didn't break, I had some like loose joint problems. You got the hinge and ball joints right here. You have the nice ball joint on the arm, swiveling there, he's waving at you, swiveling here at the fist. You obviously got the ball joint at the head. Yeah, overall, pretty solid. I'm pleased with it, you know, especially considering the experience I had with the last one. I was almost dreading getting some of the next main wave stuff because I was worried about that. And you know, it's not perfect. It's definitely, clearly a step down a little bit in some areas, but feels overall better compared to that last wave, which was kind of a nightmare. Also, I almost forgot to mention, obviously you can see he's got the sword there, which isn't the best painted, but it gets the job done for what it is. I think the helmet sculpt overall does look pretty good in terms of proportion. Maybe slightly off, but for the most part, pretty accurate in my opinion for like just just the, the general proportions of it. Just for some comparisons though, here obviously is the basic figure, and if you do remember, there was an original basic figure release that they painted the whole, like, almost bald cap here silver, but they did do a fixed one. And these are honestly solid figures for the price, in my opinion, but you can tell overall that in addition to it being better articulated and whatnot, it's also just a lot more accurate of a figure in terms of the helmet. Like, you see the helmet here on the basic one is this weird sort of narrow version, and this is a lot better there. The only other comparison I wanted to make, just in regards to sort of some slight downgrades you have here, comparing it to, this is the main release for Dino Charge Red. Did I say Dino Charge? Dino Fury Red? I might have said Dino Charge at multiple points. It's easy to get them mixed up. There is a little bit of a difference in the arm, I feel, just slight, but that's maybe me looking for things. But for the most part, I think the bodies and everything match up like that. I don't have any too huge details there, but I will say you can notice that you do have the more shiny night visor on the Red Ranger release, and he has a much more dull gray, cheaper one, which is unfortunate. I'm going to be honest, little things like this not matching, so long as they look close enough, don't bother me big picture, but it does bother me just a little bit in the sense that I think that the night visor is one of the coolest parts of the design, and it definitely doesn't look as impactful with it being a little bit of that dull gray, which is unfortunate. So that's going to be a step down. I get a feeling that, honestly, I can't remember if Green's was, because I was so focused on her braking, but I get a feeling it could be one of those where it might be random, or it could be like they're, saving money by not using this type of paint. But I just, I've seen ones in the past where you have some that are matching with others and some aren't, so you have a mixed bag. So I could see this being one where we have some shiny, some not. But I did want to note that. But overall, I find this to be a, very solid Lightning release. For what we have now, there definitely could still be some improvements made, but all things considered with the problems we have, I'm happy to have a figure that doesn't feel breakable or overly cheap and is overall fine. So if you're really wanting an Ollie figure, just know that I had a positive experience with that, but hopefully things do continue to improve. But there's not a whole lot of huge complaints I have for this one, if I'm being honest. That's about it for this review, though. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you can get notifications for all my videos. The Awesome Writer, signing out.